afternoon. Let's get ourselves together, people. For those of you who saw the preview, you know that I'm doing something a little slightly slime or Play-Doh related. So the fun and exciting thing, the fun and exciting thing about what I'm doing today is that, no, I don't want to do that, is that today I'm going to make something. And I looked up a specific recipe, and this thing was either called Play-Doh or slime. And you can decide for yourselves whether or not you think it's Play-Doh or if you think it's slime. It's your through your observations whether or not you think that I have made something that is Play-Doh-like or slime-like. Okay? So that's going to be your job. That's going to be your responsibility to tell me what this compound is the most like. I am up live. Hi, y'all. It's Miss Steph. Hello. Welcome to my laboratory. Okay. Like I said, today I'm going to make something, and at the end, we'll talk about whether or not it's slime or Play-Doh, Play-Doh or slime. You can let me know what you think it is the most like when we're done, right? Because we know that Play-Doh has a specific set of characteristics, and slime has a specific set of characteristics, and there's a certain way that the two things behave, and we know that technically they are defined in specific ways, right? Like we know that slime is really stretchy, and we know that Play-Doh is nice and squishy and can be formed into specific shapes and is able to hold its shape, right? And so today, you and I are going to make a little something. Okay, this is a different recipe than I've ever tried during a live. I worked on it a little bit yesterday and kind of didn't really like what I got. So we are going to see, not only are we going to see together whether or not it's slime or Play-Doh, but we can also together decide if it's a fail. Okay? You know how I feel about that type of stuff, going live and doing fails. I don't really have an issue with that because the whole point of science and engineering and all that type of stuff is to learn from what you've done. Sometimes you're going to do something in your scientific experiences that will be obvious. Like you have an idea of how it's going to come out. Like it should come out a certain kind of way, right? And then other times you're going to try something and say to yourself, this is a hot mess. What did I learn from it? So I really suspect that today might be one of those things. But let's see. Okay. So the materials you are going to need are listed in the description situation over on Facebook already. And of course, y'all know on Instagram, I'm going to come over here and tell you about and tell you what you need when I get ready to upload it. All right. So you need the following. First of all, I'm using beakers for my containers today. Why? Because I'm a geeky science teacher and I have lots of beakers in my home and I like using beakers. Okay. Do you have to use beakers? No. So if I say beaker, you can fill in the blank, not the blank, but fill in beaker with large bowl. Okay. Or cup. All right. And because you are scientists with me here together, I know that you will know what instance the thing should be a bowl and what instance the thing should be a cup. All right. So I've got some water here. This is room temperature water. All right, it's neither hot nor cold. I have about 2 cups worth of cornstarch. Y'all know how I am with the cornstarch. I use this brand. It performs really well. Do you have to use this brand? Absolutely not. And they're not sponsoring the video, so you really don't have to use it. Okay. But yes, so water and cornstarch. A little bit of oil. This is the thing I did not put in yesterday's tester, and I think this will really just make our life better. Okay, so I've just got a little bit on the side, just ready. Okay, food coloring, because color makes life better. I will say that throughout my teaching career, because I truly believe that a little food coloring just makes projects more fun. Today's color is neon bright green. First of all, neon is already like bright, right? But they have nerve to call it neon bright green. Okay, so you know it's gonna be like just out there. Then I also have one empty large. This is my 1,000 milliliter beaker. Okay, for my measurements pros out there, you know that 1,000 milliliters is the same as what 1 liter, right? Got a spoon. Let's pray that this spoon holds up. You'll see. You'll get to kind of practice and kind of watch with me and decide whether or not you want to use this flimsy spoon or whether or not you want to use something with a little bit more oomph. Next material that's you get to kind of decide from. I've got some pre-made pudding cup or Jello pudding, vanilla pudding mix. Okay, vanilla pudding mix. So, story behind today's project as we hop into it. You know, I've got various things in the closets. You guys notice that I don't film by the closets anymore. Just for various reasons. After the summer I set up like this, yada yada, blah blah blah. Okay, but in the closets I had some various things, right? And you know, I like to kind of go into the closets and see, what can I use? What can I do for this Saturday that will be interesting and also accessible? Something that you will be able to get your hands on the materials, right? So from our summer fingerprint situation, I had this. So then I go online and I look for a pudding science activity. And pudding slime comes up. Now, you know how I feel about situations when we're calling things a certain compound and that's not what that thing is, right? Because slime, as we know, is a specific type of compound with a glue base. Then you add an activator, and that activator polymerizes the glue molecules. Okay? That is slime. Now, there are other things that then behave like slime. And that's where you get into all these different slime recipes that you might find on YT and Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and this, that, and yada, yada talk. Okay, right? So I thought to myself, I have I have Jello, I have plenty of yes. And my people, y'all, might have plenty of this. So let's go ahead on and try this. I tried it, and it came out a little questionable. And for that reason, and because I'm a science teacher and I tinker with things, okay, for that reason, we've got the basis of today's live name, right? You can tell me when I'm done whether you think it's slime-like or Play-Doh-like. Like the true scientist I am, I have reference samples. Everybody say reference samples here in front of me so that we can compare at the end of today's lesson. So I have the green slime from our, oh, most of y'all on Instagram can see, but from our rainbow slime adventure. And I put it in my airtight container, and so it has lasted the last couple of weeks, okay? So we will be able to compare to something that we know for a fact is slime, okay? And we'll also be able to compare to something we know for a fact is Play-Doh, okay? So let's go ahead on and make this. Let's see what happens, all right? So everything is going into my large beaker. Now, if you try this you really should try this at home for yourself so that you have your own experience and you get to like post comments and all that kind of whatnot. But a couple of tips, like I said, when I do something, you get to like get an idea of the things that you should do and should not do and might want to switch up for your own self, right? So a couple of tips, definitely make sure that you have a large enough container. Okay. I started off in like this size cup yesterday, and then I moved to this size beaker yesterday, and you see today I'm using this large beaker. Okay. It doesn't matter that I'm only going to make but so much product. I still want to have a large enough container to stir in, because we all know that when making Play-Doh or slime, being able to really stir it vigorously is a major part of it. All right. We also know that when we're dealing with cornstarch, we might be stirring for a while. And I'm going to speak up because we got folk outside just doing, I don't know, whatever they feel like doing. But you should still be able to hear me. Okay. Yes, y'all know as I call it, my neighborhood soundtrack. I've got my window open. So we're just going to hear whatever we're going to hear. All right. First thing I'm going to do is take my powdered yeah, my powdered vanilla pudding mix. You could, if you want to, because again, it's yours and you get to experiment with it. And hello, why not have some good fun? You can decide, like I said, you can decide between the pre-made pudding cup stuff or between the this stuff, the packaged, right? Uh-oh, what did I do with my box? Oh. But maybe you decide you want to do a specific flavor. Because another one of the things I wanted to do was to make something that is edible. And when I say edible, I mean technically made out of all food products. Would I eat it? No, that's not something I'm going to be doing. Because y'all know how I am about that kind of stuff. Or maybe you might not know. People who know me, like really, really, really good friends, know that I'm just not into that kind of stuff. But you know, if your young scientist decides they would like to eat their products, I'm making it out of materials that it's not going to make them too sick if they so choose. All right, so you see how much I've got. This is our pudding mix. Now, this particular pudding mix is supposed to react with six cups of liquid. Okay, so that lets you know that it's able to handle quite a bit of liquid. It's one of the main components of this is sugar and modified cornstarch, right? So once again, today, hello, Miss Steph here, coming at you live. We are going to make something that is either like slime, like Play-Doh, or maybe it'll be in between. Okay? Thank you for joining me today on Saturday Science with Miss Steph. All right, so let me tilt you down so you can just be focused on what we're making. Focused on what we're making. Hopefully you can hear me. Looks like we've got somebody on Facebook watching. Yes. Wow, fabulous. Comment moderation. Okay, that's it. I mean, you can do whatever. All right, so my person on Facebook, give me a hello. Let me know who you are so I can properly greet you. All right. Okay. Tilt. Y'all know how it is. Okay. Getting everything situated. Okay, so inside of my rather large container. Okay. I've got, you saw how much I put. I put what really is the equivalent of about like a quarter of a cup. Yes, yay! I'm so glad that you're with us. All right, a quarter of a cup of the pudding mixture. Okay, again, you're watching me to let me be your guinea pig to see whether or not this works out. Okay, I'm going to add. You're going to do something. I'm going to do something you rarely will see me do, and I know the twins definitely know that. I'm going to add something without really measuring. Okay, I just want to wet it down. There we go. And we know that, I'm going to restate what I was saying earlier, dried pudding mixture, right, can hold or can handle like 3 to 6 cups of liquid being added to it. Okay, and so we know that that little bit of water really is just moisturizing my situation right now. And then you saw I added three drops of my liquid gel neon green food coloring. Remember, your job at the end is to tell me whether or not you think what I got is like slime or if you think it's more like Play-Doh. Okay? Again, I'm using items that are technically food items. I would not really suggest eating this. I mean, you'll see why, because we're going to get it's going to be a lot of raw cornstarch in here. I know, no measuring. But you'll see, we're going to kind of tinker. We're going to do something similar to slime where we have to add in a bit by bit, right? So I'm mix. Okay. Another thing about this that I noticed that I kind of was not a real fan of is that it takes a lot of like work. It's not an easy kind of 1, 2, 3 type thing. It's really simple ingredients, but it takes a while. Okay. So if we added just a little bit more liquid, if we did like a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts liquid and 1 part of that dry pudding mixture, you would have something really similar to our summertime finger paint. Okay, you can paint with it. You do want to make sure that you've got quite a bit of food coloring in it because there's already yellow food coloring inside of the powdered Jello pudding mix. Okay, and so one of the things we noticed over the summer is that Jello pudding mix really, when we use that as a finger paint base, we had to really overpower it with the food coloring that we wanted to get the color, the desired color. Like to make purple out of this was really hard. We ended up getting like this dark brown purple thing because again, you've got that yellow undertone there. All right. Another reason why I decided to pick green. All right. So in here, when I'm stirring, I'm getting a bit of a pull similar to what I get with slime. You notice when I pick it up, I'm getting kind of a bit of a slimy-ish situation. But then I'm getting this kind of half Play-Doh-ness, right? So once again, by the end, you and I will decide between the two of us, all right, whether or not we think it's slime, something that will pull really nicely and we can kind of loop around, or Play-Doh where we're going to squish it and form it and mold it. Okay? So, once again, I know the twins are really going to just be mystified at this. I'm literally going to dump this whole all of this in here because I know that it needs that much. Who remembers the last time I did that? What you saw just now? That happened to me on another live. Okay? That happened to me on another live. Who remembers what live it was? Where I just threw the cornstarch in there, or rather, I think it was when I opened the cornstarch and it poofed all over me. Okay? It's something that happens. You see that I'm like, keeping it moving. I don't care. You know, but that was about 1 cup of cornstarch. Okay. I mean, right. Okay. So stirring, stirring, stirring. I've got some votes over here already on Facebook saying they're thinking we're going to get something that's real similar to Play-Doh. I don't know. Right. It's giving me that. But the thing is, you see how I'm getting this kind of pull. I get a bit of a pull. Okay. Right? That pull, that classic slime pull. I'm getting a bit of that. And I have cornstarch powder all over my black shirt. Now, for those of you who are watching and are nervous for me, I'm not nervous at all. That is not the first or the last time that cornstarch powder has gotten all over me in my Miss Steph black outfit. So I'm fine. Right? So very similar to oobleck, you're adding the powder, then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, we have something that's actually quite damp. Do you see how much powder I put in there? And I'm still getting, it's coming together, and it's like, duh, it really formed something already. Okay. And I did a bit of the work in advance for you all when I tested this yesterday, because I'm telling you, when I did the tester, it was a mess. All right, so I have whites next to me. So if you see this next step, don't be nervous for me, because I'm prepared. All right, so similar to slime and Play-Doh, I need to pick it up and test it and find out what's going on. I'm rolling it together. Okay. Okay. So slime is going to be sticky, right? Sticky and stretchy. So I'm getting, do you see that stretch? It's a pretty decent stretch. Okay. Very decent stretch and very, very sticky. Okay. So you see how I took that really small bit there so that it wouldn't get too crazy and too out of control. Okay. But I'm really able to be very aggressive with it, and it's still giving me this like sticky kind of pulley situation, right, that you would get with slime. Now you see how it looks like it's just like a bit of a mess, but it's like fun, right? Okay. And you notice, right, that looks very dry. Didn't it look really dry before? But now, then some body heat and some like really manipulation of it gave me this really sticky situation. Okay. So depending on where you want to go with that, right, you could add more cornstarch. You could mix it in some more, right? It's lots of different things that, different ways that we could go with that. But remember, we are trying to determine whether it's most like slime or most like Play-Doh, or even a third option would just be its own thing, right? Its own situation. So what we need to do as scientists, remember I told you I had wipes, I'm fine. Okay, my hands are messy, but no big deal. What we need to do as scientists is compare this compound to a standard, right? So for all the parents out there, again, remember when we did the rainbow slime and I was telling you about how slime actually does teach like science and it's not just a big mess, right? Learning about comparing to standards, to comparing to a known, right? Which is another thing that we do when we learn about measurement. Comparing to a known is a really important part of being a scientist. Okay? So I'm going to break out my Play-Doh and my slime samples before I add the oil, because I'm sure some of you are wondering, but Miss Steph, you didn't add the oil, didn't you say? I know, right? It's like, Oh, it's slime. No, it's Play-Doh. Oh, it's slime. No, it's Play-Doh. Okay. So this is my Play-Doh sample. Okay. This we know for a fact is Play-Doh. I got it from the container that says Play-Doh. Okay. This we know for a fact is slime. Why do we know this is slime? Because I made it myself a couple weeks back. And also you notice how it's reacting when I try to put my spoon in there. And then of course when I get ready to pull it out, it's giving me that pull. Okay, the sticky fun pull that we get from slime. Okay, put that there. So that's slime, right? And we're going to put that there and kind of let it sit and be. And one of the things with slime is that the way that slime and Play-Doh are significantly different, right? Is Play-Doh will keep its shape, and slime, once you've manipulated it and then sit it there, it does not keep its shape. It now starts to move, right? So let's take our piece, our sample, right there, and we're going to put it down on the table. Again, for those of you who are new, the twins know. They know I put stuff on my table all the time. It's no big deal. But for those of you who are new, know that my table is fine. Nothing is going to, I'll clean it off. It's going to be fine. Okay? So we see how our sample really, in my opinion, is this mix of the two. Okay? And if I were to add, yeah, it's a delay. Okay, they're brilliant. I've got some folks over here on Facebook that are like analyzing, that are like really analyzing the delay, because there's a delay, y'all, over here on Facebook as compared to over here on Instagram, and then even like in the replay later, right? So you see how when I use my finger, right, we'll use a couple of testers, right? So we're gonna do a one finger, I'll press, and see that kept its form. One finger press. Now it's trying to stick to my hand, but that's already starting to go back. Okay, this is keeping its shape. This is already starting to go back. Let's press. It moved with me, so it half kept its shape, and it gave me the sticky slimeness. Okay, so the difference between this slime recipe and say this one is that, you know, when you're really manipulating this particular slime recipe, it'll come off of your hands. But this one is really hard to get off your hands and all that kind of stuff. But if you add, you know, more cornstarch or something else, and y'all know what that something else is for today, right? If you add more cornstarch or something else, we might be able to get a different kind of result, right? So let's see what happens when we add some oil to our mystery substance, right? Let's see whether it leans more to Play-Doh or more to slime, right? Because also you notice the slime has a nice kind of shiny look to it as well, whereas the Play-Doh has more of what we call matte finish, right? And this is giving me half shiny and half kind of like semi-gloss, right? I think that's the proper term when you're talking about paint and all that. So you see all this oil? I'm not putting all this in here. All right. Just a little bit. Because one of the things that I know from years of making Play-Doh, if I add too much oil to my product, it's going to give me something I don't want. Okay? Again, I'm purposely using things that are easy for you to obtain, as well as all things that are what we kind of classify these days as food or quote unquote edible. Um, just to make it like really safe, okay? But I wouldn't eat it. But you can if you want to like test it, if you want to have that be part of your test, right? Okay, so this is what it's like, what our substance is like with a little oil in it, with our substance. Okay, so you see, I'm able to rub together. It's coming off of my hands easier, and I'm still getting that nice pull. All right, it's coming off my hands a little bit easier, but I can tell if I keep manipulating it, it's not gonna come off my hands quite as easily. So you see, I'm dipping my hand in the oil a little bit. Okay, and now I'm getting this like shine. Okay, so you see, like, one of the awesome things that you can do when you're looking online and you look up Play-Doh from pudding, or you look up slime from pudding or whatever, you are scientists, right? So you get a chance to decide if you want to use the recipe or the method that they've laid down, or if you want to change it up because you've been coming to Saturday Science with Miss Steph. You get to change it up if you want. You've learned enough to say, oh, I think we should change this. I think we should try this. All right, so let's put this down. This is the sample with the oil, okay, right? We've got our Play-Doh. We have our slime from a couple of weeks ago, so you see why it kind of looks like that. And you see this one is not going to come up as easily, so I'm not going to, I would need to scrape it off the table. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so it's coming up. Okay, move that there. And this is the one with some oil in it. And you notice how the oil actually not only helps it be not as sticky, but it gives it like more structure somehow, right? Like these things are really cool to find out the properties of chemicals, find out how chemicals like react with each other, how chemicals help each other be more stable, all that type of stuff. This is the world of chemical engineering. Yeah. All right, let's check over here. I'm checking on y'all. Just type of oil change. Ah, great question. I've got a question over here on Facebook. I'm going to say it out loud so we can get it on the tape and on Instagram. Okay. Does the type of oil change anything much? Yes. The type of oil can really change what you're going to get. So I used my cooking oil because, like I said, I wanted to make sure that it was something that's edible. But had I used baby oil, right, that would have still made it kind of like slippery and so forth. And that's something that y'all can try at home if you want to try that. But if I try to use something like coconut oil is solid at room temperature. And so you would get something a little bit more like the difference between, if you've made pie crust, and I know y'all do a lot of cooking, right, at home. The difference between oil pie crust and pie crust made with butter that's cut in, right? You would start to get that kind of difference if you decide to change up to a solid based oil, okay? Or for folks who might have some shea butter at home and wanted to see kind of what that might do to it, or almond oil, those of us who use different oils in our hair and stuff, right? Like looking at it from that perspective. So yeah, so we've been on for a little bit. So I think it's time for us to kind of get ready to sign out. I'm going to see, I'm giving this a pull test. Okay, anything that's not like slime will not pass that pull test at all. Okay, so that's the last thing that we're going to do. The roll test is kind of how much like Play-Doh it's like, right? Like this roll, you see how this Play-Doh can be rolled. It doesn't stick to my hands too well. It's perfectly formed, and I get a ball and it stays like a ball. Okay, and then if I pull, right, it completely comes apart. Okay, so that's what we'll do as we close out. We're going to do a roll and a pull, people. A roll and a pull. please, please, when you get ready to do this at home, remember to do the different tests that I did, and like comment and like, share, all that kind of whatnot already. Then so I'm used to. It's a habit with slime that I'm pulling it, just because like we know that that's what we do already. Then so with slime, did y'all hear it? It kind of is making this like squishy, and you see how it's like leaking on me and all that kind of stuff. It is really not passing this roll test, but the pull test, baby, what? Perfect, absolutely perfect. Handle that pull test perfectly. All right, so this has been sitting for a little bit. Let's see what you do. Let's see what you do. Let's roll. Let's see if we can get a roll. See the roll is getting like sticky on my hand. Okay, so it's not forming a ball. It's kind of refusing to form a ball. And the pull, it's giving me a pretty decent pull. Okay. Yep. That's what that does. That was our first round of our substance. And let's see what our substance does. Plus oil, right? So the plus oil is still giving me a pull. But let's see how it handles with the ball. Okay, it's giving me a bit of a better ball formation. Okay. In person, I can see that the ball is drooping a little bit, but not too much. And pull. You see that nice, pretty pull. Okay. Okay. So we're getting something that is more similar to the behavior of slime. Okay. But it's not giving me this nice shininess that I get from the glue slime. Okay. So my dears, my darlings, my people, it has been absolutely wonderfully fun taking you through this. Is it Play-Doh or is it slime adventure? Remember, your base that you're going to use, right, is you're going to take some either pudding mix, right, the dry pudding, jello pudding mix, okay, or you're going to get some like the pudding snack cup. Then you're going to add some cornstarch to it, some food coloring, and have a good old time and test it that way and find out whether or not you're getting, you see I have got stuff all over me, please, which is normal for me. That's nothing for me. Okay. To see whether or not you're getting, yes, of course, you're so welcome and thank you for joining me. To see whether or not you get something that is like slime, or if you get, Instagram, y'all got a whole view of over there. But see, we're on the opposite side of my space. So you still just got a view of just my paper pie. All right. So yeah. Oh, before we go, one more thing. Cake and chemistry. So cake and chemistry next week. Yes, we're doing it. Normally it would be like cupcakes and I would like bring a bunch of stuff to the classroom and all that kind of stuff. But next week, what I'm going to do, I'm inviting you. If you didn't get your invitation, that's because you don't follow us on all of our social media platforms. Okay. There's going to be a little Zoom pre-party where you can talk to me face to Zoom face, right? And bring your own cupcake, right? That's what we're going to do at 1 o'clock. Is it 1 o'clock? 1:30. Sorry, y'all. Check the invite and don't check me. Okay. At 1:30, we'll do that. And that will be a smaller group, and we'll get a chance to really actually talk to each other live, and there won't be the Facebook delay. Hello. And we'll do that. Bring your own party hat and your own cupcake because we're going to celebrate, okay, someone's birthday. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you all next week, either at the Zoom pre-party or the special Taking Chemistry live, okay, at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time next Saturday, right here on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of you who've been supporting, who are participating in our Breaking Barriers campaign already. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all next week.